everybody, and welcome to another edition of our complete Born of the Gods set review. Today we're talking about the red cards. I'm Evan Irwin.
I'm Brad Nelson.
That's right. We're here to talk about
You
Magic.
didn't say all day. You always say that I'm Brad Nelson all day.
You are.
I am all day,
All year.
all the time.
All the time.
It gets really tough.
Feels good, man.
It does.
All right. So, a Crowan Conscriptor is next. This is a heroic card I can get jazzed about.
Oh yeah, I can get behind this card a lot, and so can your opponent's creatures.
We're clever. Now look, like Zealous Conscripts on a heroic trigger is terrific. I mean, it's obviously it's not permanent like conscripts, I get it. But again, this is threatened on a dude on heroic. He's good by himself.
There's so
but he
much,
gets insane with his heroic.
and there's so much play to this card. Like you play it, and then your opponents, if they can't deal with it, which they're going to want to, are not really going to know what to do because you can do this on their turn. Like just be like, some kind of instant speed trick, and all of a sudden one of their attackers turns into a blocker for you. And that's extremely powerful to me, like just having that much play with a threatened type effect.
Right. Some of the three most important words is untap that creature, because then it's not only good on your turn, it's good on their turn. And so now when they're attacking into Conscriptor, they're just like, please don't blow up all my guys with your one spell that's just going to target this one guy. So like this guy has a huge, bullseye on him. Like he has to die when you play him. When you see someone play against you, play this against you, you kill it immediately.
Yeah, because it's like if they untap with mana and cards in hand, it's going to be so much more difficult to play a game of Magic against them because anything can happen. Like you almost just have to run stuff into it. Like what are you going to do? Never attack into it? It's kind of more difficult to do that.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those where like you can't just ignore it entirely in terms of like I'm not going to attack into it because that's bad, and can't just ignore it entirely because I can get blown up by its ability. So, again, that's the power of this card is that it makes things happen, it makes people play differently, and it changes the game entirely every turn after it exists.
Oh yeah, and I do believe it's a good first pick. Like I'd probably take removal over it, but not any other random creature.
Sure, this card is powerful. Archetype of Aggression. Brawr. So angry.
Why can't it just be haste?
Yeah, man.
Why can't it just be one of the most broken limited cards of all time?
Oh.
Give all your guys haste and itself.
Oh, 3 mana, 3/2 haste, all haste. Burp. And your opponent's creatures can't gain haste either?
Yeah. Nice Stormbreath Dragon.
I mean, just that would have been ridiculous.
Yeah, but I do think that this card is powerful. Trample is kind of a meh ability, but not when you start bestowing onto things. It just feels more like a green card to me. I know. It's just I feel like if it was colorless, green, 3/2 a trample, it would just be like it makes so much more sense.
It really does. Now I know they gave Hexproof to green, and we'll talk about it. But having red, sort of have trample is a little strange to be honest. It just feels a little weird, even as much as they pushed it all these years. It's just one of those things where you don't naturally, I think, feel that trample belongs to red.
Yeah.
And to have its archetype, to have one of its main cycle creatures, sort of push that, it just feels a little strange. Now, ultimately, you're building, battleships, you're building, battle cruisers, whatever you want to call it.
Boats.
Building your boats, and then big old boats often get stopped by little dorks, and this guy makes sure they don't.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is nice. It's unlimited. It's a fine card. It's not anything that you're like. It's not as good as a Crowan Conscriptor.
No, not at all. But it is very good on curve. A 3/2 for 3 is not bad.
Yep.
So it's a good Magic card.
It's a good Magic card. You're not going to be upset playing it. It's just not going to be an all-star in your deck. Yeah. Bolt of Keranos.
Because when all the other burn spells are just, too good.
You make a bad one.
We get a sorcery speed for 3. I mean, to be fair, you're going to play it every time.
You're going to play it. You're going to first pick it. I mean, it's a bolt. It's a removal spell. It hits their face. It hits their creatures. It obviously gives you a bonus on scrying. That's great.
I'm pretty sure it's not a first pick, honestly.
Really?
No, because the whole instant speed is why Lightning Strike is a first pick card. Like, this card is going to be good, but...
Well, I would say that it doesn't turn into an auto first pick this
Yes.
way. I think you can first pick it and it's not embarrassing. But it's not like, oh my God, I can't possibly pass this. It's it makes it more of a sort of a conversation than Lightning Strike, which is just obvious.
Yep.
So that's sort of the context of that one. I love this crazy art. It looks so silly. It's almost like where is, the eyes sort of at the top and the mouth is so big and the jaw hinges so far. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like a Mr. Potato Head or something. It's crazy.
That would be a really tough throw for eye gouge. Like you have to lob it up in the air.
Get it just right so it falls just down on top of it. 4 mana, 5/2. What do you want from me? We had a conversation a few set review videos ago where we were talking about the fact that, I like my 5/5s and my 4/4s, and you're okay with your Dross Crocodiles, being 5/1s and 4/1s or whatever. So this guy, his job is to trade upwards.
Yes, but I do think that at the same cost for another common, the Minotaur, the 4/3 Minotaur, is just going to be better. And so you're going to get this really late, and it's probably just going to be upgraded by the 4/3 Minotaur in the next 2 draft sets, because you know how in Limited, we're going to be drafting this first and then 2 sets of Theros.
Yep.
So I do feel like you're going to get this, and it's going to go, after your first pack, you're going to put it to your right, and it's going to be in your playables and non-playables, and then by the end of the draft, it's just sitting over here.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to guess.
Right. This is one of those where, like, if you're the Minotaur deck and you're looking for Minotaurs and how many Minotaurs you draft, like, this is probably going to go very late. You know, this is not a card that people are super crazy excited to get a hold of. So, as such, it'll ideally trade up, ideally be in the Minotaur deck to get a bunch of cool bonuses or whatever, but more than likely not. Just not going to be played. Meh. Epiphany Storm looks cool. A red version of Brainstorm. You seen the Brainstorm that's like this?
Oh, wow.
Remember the Brainstorm blue one that was in, I think it was Jace versus something?
No. Yeah, I have.
Right. Whatever is the new art for Brainstorm, and it's this, but it has blue stuff above here, and this one has red stuff above here, and she's in a red dress.
I like it, but it's such a worse card.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible. But that's not what I'm trying to focus on here. I'm just like, whatever. The card's kind of crappy.
The art is very good though.
Yeah, it's super cool. This is Red's version of have Inspire and have an Inspire Enabler.
I didn't even think about it, but that actually would be so cool if, like, in your house, you just had like the Brainstorm lithograph right beside this lithograph.
Yeah.
You just have both of them right beside each other.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, again, the art is the coolest thing about this card. The rest of it is a little unimpressive. I mean, in Red particularly, to try to slow you down is always tough. But it has its uses. Maybe there's a really sick Inspire deck out there that, in Limited that just goes bonkers. Yeah. That goes bonkers. With this type of enabler. That's all I got for it. You probably shouldn't play it. Depends. Everflame Eidolon.
This card is very good. Fire breathing on a bestow for 3 mana. So and the thing is +1/+1 for 3 mana is huge. You play 2/2, they play 2/2. You attack with a 3/3 after you bestow. Next turn, it gets these bonuses. So when you attack, it's tough to block because it'll trade up with fire breathing, and then its copy will trade up again.
Oh.
Yeah, so I really love.
Such value.
I love how these bestow creatures are getting these unique abilities.
Yep.
I'm really crazy what's going to happen the next set when they just have to go even further.
And I'm okay with that. This again reminds me of the either Wingsteed Rider or the little tiny Wingsteed Rider guy, the 2-mana guy. A Crow and Sky something. This card is it's right on your curve. It's just like the other one we had mentioned to make it sort of a 3/4 immediately, or a 3/3 in this case immediately, and with fire breathing, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, this is a very good card, mostly because fire breathing creatures usually aren't that good, but if on bestow or have a different ability, they end up becoming insane.
Right.
I'm a huge fan of what's it called? The 1-mana enchantment that gives fire breathing and draw a card.
Dragon Mantle?
Yeah, Dragon Mantle. I played that in Constructed.
Yeah, the card is actually constructed playable.
Yeah.
And that's just fire breathing with a cantrip, and this is like fire breathing on top of a great bestow, ability. That's terrific.
I do feel like that was one of our pie bets, wasn't it? Yeah, I don't know if I won that one.
I don't know if it got there in the time frame that we described it. I don't know. We'll check. Who knows? I probably lost it because I lose all of them. Fall of the Hammer, because Crush Underfoot was not good enough. It now needs to not require a giant. It now is not uncommon, but it's common.
Yeah.
And it's got a really cool picture, really great flavor, is terrific in Limited.
Oh, instant speed. Yeah, Pit Fight was really good, but this one is just deal the damage. It doesn't fight back, and that's just huge. That's just such a bigger ability. This card, you can compare to Prey Upon and Pit Fight, but it's just infinitely better because you don't have to fight. You just deal damage.
Exactly.
I liked me some blood from the last
From
Pro
the flesh and the blood.
Yeah, and this card is just a very good limited removal spell.
Yep.
I wouldn't consider it a trick. Please use this when your opponent's tapped out, because if they kill your guy in response, you don't get the ability. So don't consider it a trick. I won't use it as a combat. I would more so play it as a sorcery, even though it's an instant.
Sure. Basically, but again, you think of it as a removal spell, and not a trick. And as long as you have that right mindset, you're always going to get the value out of this card. And it's really, really good. Fated Conflagration. Woo woo. The Red Hero's Downfall.
And
Brad, the Red Hero's Downfall.
Can I complain? Can you please let me complain for a minute?
Go.
Okay. What red deck wants creature and planeswalker removal that costs 4 mana? What red deck ever? Have you ever heard of a deck that's like, yeah, I really need to kill this planeswalker? No, you kill them.
No.
You kill them.
His name is Jace, Architect of Thought. That card has been shutting down red decks for months now.
Yeah, but now it's Drown in Sorrow, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, no.
No, I mean, I was giving my guys +3/+1 in Scrying to kill my Jaces. I had no problem with my little red decks killing Jace.
All I'm saying is this thing kills every single planeswalker in Standard, even
It
Elspeth.
does, and you know what's the self-fulfilling prophecy of creature or like removal spells against control decks? They will kill you with the card you're trying to kill because you're playing slow cards like this. You're gonna give your opponent the time to put the permanent on the board that you want to kill because this is in your hand.
Well, it's mainly about going on the curve. You know, you have your Fire Drinker Satyr, you have your Ash Zealot, you have your Chandra's Phoenix or your Boros Reckoner, and then this is literally going to kill anything that they did. Ideally, Jace Architect of Thought. You know, when you play Boros Reckoner and they go, okay, Jace +1 go, and you go, okay, Flated Conflagration, attack with, you know, -1/-1 or -1/-0 for this turn, whatever, go. Like, their Jace was what was going to stop them from dying most of the time. Now they're going to have to run out a Supreme Verdict or whatever, whereas before, Jace could hold them off, you know, Jace maybe Detention Sphere, do one thing, whatever. It was sort of, it's on the right curve, it kills the right things. It's not the perfect numbers, but it's pretty good. It doesn't take, for example, a down a Desecration Demon.
All right, well, I am going to present you with another pie bet. This only works if a mono red deck does not make the top 8 of an open in the next 3 months or whenever till the next set.
But it has to have this in it.
But if there's a mono red aggro deck that is under the description of, you know, like aggressive creatures, it doesn't have to have Fire Drinker Satyr, but like Rakdos, Cacklers, and Burning Tremosaurs and Ashy Lots.
Yeah, like black red aggro or red aggro or whatever.
Yeah. If they exist yet don't play this card, I would win the pie bet. But if the decks exist,
or you're even giving me sideboard?
This card won't make main. I'm giving you sideboard.
Okay. Until
Nyx.
M15.
Nyx.
Come on.
Nyx.
I gave you till M15.
Yeah, but that was a way different bet.
Bets are different.
Exactly. That's my point. You don't get this much time. We have more cards to talk about.
I ain't doing it. Fearsome
Chicken.
Temper. What? Call me a chicken if you want, but you didn't get pie out of your ear, now did you? All right. Fearsome Temper. Okay. It gets angry.
I mean, I like this card because it's powerful enough for these enchant creatures. Yes, this is one of them that gets 2 for 1 for the bad side.
It does.
But if it lives, it has added bonus. Like the whole thing of not being able to have creatures block is pretty cool. At 6 mana, you can give a guy +2/+2 and then make something block that same turn. So it's a very good 6 mana spell.
Sure.
And it's huge for that turn.
Right. I mean, I think this is in the sort of vein of you're building the huge monster, and you want the huge monster to be able to get through, and they've got a Sedge Scorpion or something stupid that is stopping you from being able to attack. And Fearsome Temper lets you, if you got a lot of mana, play it. That thing can't block, and then or you know just. Once you untap with, you know, maybe 6, even more mana, you know, that can't block and that can't block. So now you can't double block this thing, get you. You know, it's the idea that you're sort of building the battleship, whatever, as we keep saying. But, you know, it really gives you that card you're looking for to do so.
Oh, for sure. I like this card a lot.
Yep, the card is good and limited. Veilhide, Spirit Binder. And again, one of those that I got to wait so long to get any value out of this thing.
And it looks like a Minotaur. I mean, it is a Minotaur, but it looks like it came from Alien, but it had horns. It's just like a weird Minotaur.
It's a freaky looking Minotaur. Yeah. You know, you could replace the word inspired right there in italics with, you know, 3 turns from now, if you're lucky, whenever Spellbinder becomes untapped, blah, 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 blah. You know, like,
Yeah, it's not that good. I mean, but the body is really relevant, and it's going to be awesome and limited. This will not see constructed play, but it's amazing and limited.
Absolutely. It will be a limited all-star. For me, I'm sort of, again, talking about the constructed and where I start from, and I'm like, there's no way that's going to make it.
No.
There's just no way.
Awesome limited, first pickable.
Great. So Flame Wreath Phoenix, I'm going to note here, and I want to sort of drop some notes on anyone from Wizards who may be watching, and anyone from Wizards who thought it was a good idea for this to be the first Mythic we saw of the set. Because I'll be honest, I was like, really? Really?
Yeah.
This was the first Mythic spoil, by the way, and I was like,
Yeah, it was the first card I saw of the set, and I was just like, this is what the set's going to be like. I was just like,
really? This is it?
oh, wait, this is it? I think that this is in like the top like couple cards in the set.
Oh, it is now.
Yeah, but
I was
that's
just
what I
like,
mean.
I was like, come on, guys! Like, you couldn't have shown us Xenagos. You couldn't have shown us obviously Vermont. You couldn't have shown. I mean, they busted Kiora. So Kiora was the first Mythic. Let me get correct. After Kiora busted on Christmas, this was the next thing they showed us, and I was like, I was, it just doesn't really feel that great. I'm sure it's going to be constructed playable. It's got some good numbers. I don't really like it, honestly. But
No,
maybe
I
it'll
don't
see
think it
constructed play later
I don't
after
think-
other options are gone.
Probably not.
Like, I would take a pie bet that this won't see play.
I will take a pie bet too. Let's do a suicide pie bet. If this sees play, we both get pied.
That was the pie bet I've been waiting to make. Because I'm just like, please tell me it's not me.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't believe I was like, I'm missing something.
No.
I really am. Like a 3/3 that, when it dies, returns to its owner's hand. Like,
No, we'll make an agreement for you guys out there since you guys
Mythic?
they're gonna hold us to it. Let's say the pie bet is this has to
Okay.
become a standard staple that not just one copy in a deck. Like
right, not a
it's
one
like
random, not even
it's
like
like
one on the sideboard.
it's like 3 ofs or 4 ofs in the deck, and they consistently show up. And
Yep. We'll give you the Journey to Nyx. Journey to Nyx,
Yep.
top 8, a mono red or a black red or whatever, an aggro deck that features 3 to 4 of this thing.
and then we'll let you guys. We'll have a vote, and you guys can decide which SCG employee pies us. It'll probably be Pete.
Yeah, it'll be Pete.
Yeah,
I don't know if Pete would do it.
he of course would.
But
do
maybe they can get to pick the flavor.
they can pick the flavor.
The flavor. They'll get something messy. Okay, anyway, just to back up, I don't like this thing constructed. I'm sorry,
either.
I just don't. And limited is going to be a fine card. It's a good card in
a
limited.
very good card in limited.
Because both halves are really good in a limited environment. In the
you could
wild
just-
world of Azoria's Charms and Detention Spheres and just removal spells.
You could just eliminate the tribute and the other ability and just give it flying, and it'd be really good unlimited 3/3 flyer for 4.
Yep, I agree. Forged Stoker Dragon. It's a dragon. You're going to love it in limited. There's no doubt about it.
Finally, a card that I think has awesome flavor.
It does.
It does. It's really good. It's like the only time that it's gonna have fire breathing or deal damage is when it's attacking and it's on its onslaught. Like Niv Mizzet's just like chilling in the back corner. Like
Yeah, he's like, bing.
yeah, he's like, well, to be fair, he's a very powerful dragon.
Well, of course he is.
But this guy, he can only do it, like, the way that I see it is when he's flying over the enemy, That's
Right.
when he's doing all his damage. Yeah, I really
cool.
do like this card.
Yeah, this card is sweet. Again, in limited, you're going to love this thing absolutely to pieces.
Yeah.
And that's all. I mean, and of course, if you want to play it in casual, it's cool. Mm-hmm. I mean, it does what you want it to do. Impetus Sunchaser.
Yeah, I mean, we've had multiple types of cards like this, but I do think that this one is very good for the fact of how this set is designed with Bestow and stuff like that.
Sure.
And so, like, all these flyers that come down really early are sweet. And sure, it has to attack each turn of Fable, and sometimes that'll be bad, but not if you get enough Bestow. So, like, this is like a 6th or 7th pick, and then you start building around that strategy of cheap creatures, cheap Bestow, into bigger Bestow.
Yeah, I mean, this is also one of those cards that, we're going to get, a tweet or we're going to get it on Facebook where they're going to show us how they played their Pegasus, Sunchaser deck, the 2/1 Pegasus. They're like, you see, when I went like Pegasus into like Sunchaser and into like Pegasus and blah, 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 and got him, it's like, yeah, you're going to have those.
And I got him to 14 before he drowned in sorrowed.
I died a lot, but it was fun. Yeah. See, I had a screenshot where it was awesome.
Yeah, please give me enough excuses to board in Spark Jolt. I'll take all of them.
Okay. Anyway, again, I agree with you. Basically, this is a card that sets you up to build a monster. This is the monster that you begin with. This is step 1. This is stage 1. And then you add a Bestow, and then maybe another Bestow, or maybe another, just a good old-fashioned enchantment.
A Dragon Mantle.
Exactly. Just sort of start building on this type of card. Kragma Butcher. He butchers them Kragmas.
He does butcher a lot of Kragmas. He also...
Or he's from the land of Kragma.
He also just has the same stats as other creatures. It's very comparable to other Minotaurs out there. But it is nice that when he untaps, he's a 4/3. But then he can get the also bonus from that uncommon that whenever they attack, they get +2/+0. But again, it's just inspired, and I'm not that inspired by these
I'm
cards.
not inspired by Inspire. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
just, I want to be. I want to feel all the things, and I just can't. But, he comes from the land down Kragma. So, there you go. That's all I got. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
Lightning Volley. 4 mana. Now, Flame Fusillade, if you guys recall, from I believe it was Planar Chaos, was the same mana cost, instant, and all of your permanents gain tap, deal 1 damage. And this is until in turn your creatures gain deal 1 damage. So that's why it's, I don't think it's, I think Flame Fusillade was a rare. This is moved a step down. This also looks really good, but just like Flame Fusillade, it ended up not being as insane as it looked.
No.
You're like, oh, everything I have can tap for a damage? That's crazy. It'll be the most insane limited bomb ever. When in
it wasn't
actuality,
even that good.
you might kill one thing because you got to tap like 4 or 5 guys to kill a 5 toughness thing, or tap 3 or 4 guys to maybe get 2 guys out. Like this is not quite the blowout that it looks like, but it is nice that you can hit creatures or players. If you got a bunch of creatures, a bunch of tokens, you can't just sort of kill someone out of nowhere, which is nice. But when you use it as a removal spell, which is what I think is the most often used mode,
Oh, for sure.
it just doesn't really perform that well.
Yeah, it's kind of a boring card.
It's kind of a trap, is the best way I'd put it. It looks like you're going to do insane things, but in the real world, you don't.
Too bad the art is so much more amazing than the card.
Because
I really like the art.
Ooh, Nyxborn Rollicka. He's just a rollicking. Ha-da-da-da, ha-da-da.
I don't know how to go. Do I come along with you with this? Like,
Woo! I mean, the cheapest bestow, I think, of all time. I
Yeah.
don't think there's any cheaper bestow than this ever. Good old 1 mana 1/1. It's adorable.
I mean, it's really good with I think this is going to be one of those cards that no one wants, and then you take them early, or you take them in pack 1, and then you get all the Crone Crusaders, and you build this really sweet
Right.
deck after that. But for the most part, I think it's playable, but I wouldn't want a lot of them because here's the thing: I will never play 1 mana creatures that don't have good abilities, and this technically doesn't have that good of an ability.
Technically.
Yeah.
Ish. You know what I mean? Like, again, it's like you said, it sounds like one of those, you got a bunch of these late because no one else wanted them, and you got all the Crusaders or all the cheap heroic guys, and this, this is a card that is just built for a heroic deck. That's all this card wants to do. For God's sakes, never played as a 1/1. That's what it's made to do.
Yeah.
So let it do that. Oracle Boons. Oh, tribute cards. Let me just tell you, that last half of that card, I know, and I know, we have, in our thoughts, we're going to be cruel ultimatuming or something. We're going to be doing
We're going to
insane
have to
things.
cast
We're
our
gonna
Mizzy Mortar and not be able to kick it. That's what we're going to be doing.
Right. You're going to, I'm going to
even a
time
feel
stretch
bad.
off Oracle of Bones. No, you're not. Like, they're just going to give you a 5/3 that they're going to kill immediately, or they're going to give you a 3/1 and you're going to be like, oh, I didn't really have a spell I could play, or, oh, I didn't want to play this spell right now anyway. This is another really good example of just griefing the crap out of
What
yourself.
if tribute cards are actually just insane? Like,
If
let's
they're
just,
actually insane.
hypothetically, we have just burned them this whole time. This entire time, we've just been like, tribute's so bad. And they end
so
up
bad.
they end up just all being tournament staples.
Like good old, we go back to Thassa, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna fall inside. Thassa's never gonna see play, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I quite said it like that, but I said, I fall on the side of Thassa's not good versus Thassa's good.
Yeah.
Which was a mistake. But yeah, again, it just tribute is. We know what tribute is. It's a Punisher mechanic. We know that.
And they put them on bodies.
And
they're probably not going to be good.
They're probably not. Because why? Because you don't have the decision.
Yeah.
That's it.
See, the only Punisher mechanic I want to exist is if they make another unglued set. It's like, either I get this or you slap yourself in the face.
Exactly.
Like, that's the kind of Punisher
Bodily
mechanics I want.
harm.
Yeah.
He gets 2 2/2s, or you must bleed.
Yeah. I get 2+1/+1 counters, or you buy me a soda. That kind of stuff would be sweet. But in real life Magic, it's not that good.
Yeah, again, I don't know, man. The whole set is built around grief mechanics, which is really strange. All right, so wait, but just to go back a second, I don't really like this card in limited either. I mean,
No.
it's, again, you're going to have a 4 mana 3/1 haste guy.
Yeah, they're gonna
just
let you
going to
play
be
your
like,
spell.
yeah, they're like, what do
All
you got?
your stuff is guys anyway.
Yeah, all your stuff is guys and like sort of like tricks and
Yeah,
things.
or you played on turn 4 and they're like, sure, and they're like, I guess I'll sip of Hemlock or Tutu because I don't want to pay the mana.
Right, because I got to get the value out of this
Yeah.
3/1 haste guy. I mean, it's just silly. Oh, yuck.
Wait, real quick before we go. It is a Minotaur, so it will see play in your limited Minotaur deck.
Yeah, well, hopefully it'll come late because no one wants it.
Yeah.
Faragax, giant. Faragax. All right, 5 mana, 3/3. Here you go. They're going to give you a 5/5 and kill it.
Yeah, or they're going to take the life because you're way behind on board.
Right. They're going to be like, okay, I've got a 4/4, and a 3/4
And I'm at
whatever.
19.
Yeah. I'm at 16, or no, I'm
Yeah,
at
I'm at
14.
14, yeah.
You got me.
Yeah.
Like,
Good job.
I mean, that's just these are the situations you get in, and I'm sure that it's not going to be that clear cut. It normally never is in the real world, but it's not far off.
Yeah, I agree.
Where someone's going to be like, you got a 5/5, and I've got a bunch of flyers. Okay.
Wait. Okay, never mind. I was confused for a second. For a second there, I thought I saw 2 eyes, and I thought he was a Cyclops for some reason. I was about to.
Whoa.
I was about to freak out.
Whoa.
But it was just me. It was me. There was a problem with me. Yeah.
Wasn't the art director? It's just you. Pinnacle of Rage. It is the pinnacle of rage.
It is the pinnacle of
The tip top.
bad removal spells.
Spells.
I mean, come on, like.
There's a theme in Theros, and it is bad removal spells.
Yeah, it's like, come on, we just dealt with Boulder Fall. Like, come on.
This is marginally better. I mean, this is probably going to be a 2-for-1.
Maybe.
I mean, that's the idea. Certainly, you should probably never play this unless you're going to get 2-for-1. Or you're in a scenario where you literally have to play it or you lose. or
Yeah, I mean,
something.
I really
But
don't see why they couldn't let this card just deal the 3/3 to the same creature.
I would like that. If it could say
A big old
3/2.
turn to slag.
Twice to one creature or
Yeah.
2 creatures or players. I mean, or whatever. It's just bad removal spells. It's one
Yeah.
of those where you're going to play it because it's a removal spell. You're not going to be super happy about it. It's not so bad that it's Boulder Fall where it's
I
unplayable.
won't say you're going to play it because we found out a lot from last set that you don't actually have to play a lot of the removal spell. You play your Sips, you play your Lightning Strikes, and that's
Right.
about it.
I mean, if you're playing Sip, you're probably going to play Pinnacle.
No, Sip kills anything and they
I know
take damage.
Sip kills anything. I'm just saying, like, it could also hit players. Like, that's a thing.
Oh, so thank you for letting me pay 6 mana for my Searing Blaze.
Well, it's Theros block, man. That's as good as you
I didn't
get.
know what else I was going to do with
That's
my
as
mana.
good as it's getting. Reckless Reveler. He's reckless.
He
He
is.
don't care. He don't care.
What is Kiln Fiend? Was that the old one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kiln Fiend. I do like it,
No,
except
no. Kiln Fiend was the one that got bigger when you played Instants from Sports.
oh yeah, it was Torched Fiend.
Torch Fiend. There you
Yeah.
go.
But the thing about this card is show me the artifacts. Just show me the artifacts,
Come on,
Jerry.
baby.
Just show me the artifacts. Because there aren't any.
Yeah.
It's like, no, what are you going to do? Kill a Springleaf Drum?
Well, I mean, maybe a Gorgon's head would be about as good as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of is what he's literally doing is killing the Trojan horse. Like,
Sure.
your opponent plays their crow and horse or whatever, and then you're just like, okay, fine, kill it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. A Crow and Horse is pretty good too. Okay, so you've got a few random possible good options. This is a 2/1 for 2 mana.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this is a 2/1 for 2 mana that might possibly get relevant 1 in 10 games or something.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you just want to. This is a guy for your curve. When you look at your deck and you're way too top heavy and you want to do something in the early game, this is the guy for the early game.
Yeah.
That's all. Rise to the challenge, son.
This is the rise of the challenge because I've always tried to find the best case scenarios for these effects. I love the plus X plus 0 and first strike tricks
Sure.
because they blow you up because you don't really want to play them always in your game ones. Granted, there are heroic now and you want instant speed tricks.
I mean, basically this has been in white a million times. This has been in red a couple times. I can't remember exactly which ones, but
Lightning something.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly there was Zealous something in Innistrad block for this for white. Same cost, white and a colorless plus 2/0 on first strike. This is your bread and butter combat trick.
Yeah.
This is just, it's as clear as it gets. Like they blocked your thing, you kill it with this. They don't see it coming. ... It's certainly not anywhere you're going to pick early. It's rarely something that someone plays around correctly, and it usually always surprises them. So having this be a 23rd type card is usually in your favor depending on the format.
Yep.
That's the best I got. Satyr Fire Dancer.
Now, this card is the reason why I think we're gonna see like red decks resurge.
This card is kind of the hot fire.
This card is really good. This card
gonna lie.
also makes like blue-white so much better, because if this deck exists, this card not only isn't good against blue-white, but like who wants to play creatures if every single red deck can just go like lightning strike you and that and
I mean, there's a lot of value to be had. Now, the other half is that he's, there's not going to be, if you have 2 out, does it trigger twice? Yes?
yeah,
Great.
because they both trigger each other.
You're still spending 2 mana for a 1/1. That's a thing.
Yeah, but when you play against other creature decks, the red decks can't really race them. They have to control them in some way,
Right.
shape, or form. And like this works really well with Chandra's Phoenix. Block with Chandra's Phoenix, like strike you, get my Phoenix back, kill the guy that I blocked. Like there's so much added value for this guy. Like he
Sure.
doesn't look good, but giving you the ability to not only help deal them the damage, along with doing that, like I just think of like shock you, shock your guy. Like that is so good.
That is so incredibly powerful. Yes. However, it also kind of needs the right situations.
Okay, here's
does
the
this sound like a sideboard card? Is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, like a 4-of.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like it sounds like a fine card, but it just has to be in the right matchup. When you're against green white, when you're against mono green or green red or whatever it is, this guy is going to do insane amounts of value for you. And when you're against control decks, it's just not. And I don't think you want to err on the side of having this guy main versus just siding him in and getting all those values.
I agree with that. But he's going to change matchups from the sideboard.
Sure. Which I think is terrific.
Yeah, he's so good.
Yep. He's a fine man. All right. So let's back up a second. Limited.
Probably not, because you're not going to have a lot of like damage spells to target with them. Like you have your lightning strikes, you have your magma jets, but other than that, there's not a lot.
Yeah, and there's also not a lot that hits like the player directly.
Oh, what about Boulder Fall? We finally found the way to make it good.
No, you didn't. Satyr Nick Smith.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it.
What?
I think that this card is actually good in standard. I think it's a sideboard card against control decks. Not only does it attack with haste on the turn it comes into play, but you don't have to invest anything, so that it's a must kill. I think that this card is standard playable.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. I was not really expecting that at all. Now,
It
I
is
was
a-
expecting you to say it was really good and limited because of it can,
No, it's pretty bad and limited.
Well, you skip a whole turn of waiting for Inspire.
That's true.
That to me was the bonus.
But I'm going to block this every time.
Of course, but obviously in a perfect world they don't have blockers, but that's your perfect world. So and that doesn't really happen in limited. In constructed, maybe.
I think it's a sideboard card against blue-white. Just think about it. You play it on turn 3 and you attack them immediately. You get the damage in. Now,
Right.
next turn, they have to sphere it, and they don't want to waste their spheres on this, because if they don't, you get a 3-1 and you attack them, then they have to supreme verdict. Like, it is a win condition and it can.
It brings its own army.
Yes,
And that's very
huge.
powerful.
And it's a fast army.
It is. I mean, again, it's the haste. It's the fact that when you took Inspired that says wait 3 turns to do anything, or at least wait 2 turns if you want to think of it that way, and this guy says just wait 1 turn to do something. Like, that is a huge jump. That's almost, that's gaining a whole turn, gaining more mana. I mean, however you want to think about it in terms of, the advantages. But I will grant you that it has potential.
Yes.
I'm skeptical, however. Scouring Sands. Wow, that's weird. Like, they were like to the artist, like, okay, it's sandy, it's blowing everywhere.
And there's some
Sandy blowing.
and there's some weird thing in
And
the.
there's no, it's a tower.
it's a tower.
You
That's
good
it.
old-fashioned tower with some more sand back there. I mean, okay, that's a thing. Like, are they supposed to be in pain? I don't know what's going on with
Well,
that
they're
guy.
all
Did he get pushed?
Well, he tripped. He ran too
Really?
fast.
Does that look like tripped or look like pushed?
I mean, have you ever fell on ice? That's what it looks like when you fall on ice.
I've laughed at people who've fallen on ice. I've fallen on ice, but not quite that cleanly. Normally it's like, it's bad. But sure, to each creature your opponents control, I dig it.
Never play this card. It's not good. It's one. Like, who has 1/1s? It's like, oh, thankfully you played your Lonely Pegasus.
I mean, and who puts themselves in such a position that this is the card that wipes them out?
Exactly.
In which that you didn't get all of your crap wiped out either.
well,
at that
no,
point.
it's opponent's control.
Well, no, but at the same time,
Oh, yeah.
you know what I mean? That you had to sort of give up all your guys and make all these bad trades,
Yeah.
and then you get to play another card to try to get rid of their guys after you give up all of your cards to get, it's like,
Yeah, I mean, I get it, Wizards. You're not going to print Pyroclasm again. I get it.
It's bad. Okay, the end. All right, here we go. Cheesy Stigmata.
Cheesy.
That is straight cheesy. Velveeta. And now that you've seen it, you can't ever unsee it.
No, I don't
You will
see it.
never get that cheesy out of your mind.
I still don't see it.
He's cut open and the cheese falls out.
He really should get a better diet. That is really unhealthy.
Woo! Man, it's so bad. I'm bleeding cheese. Doc, have you ever seen this? Okay, seriously, the spell is amazing. It's super fantastic. I'm honest to God wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't hit Legacy because it's Searing Blaze that you don't have to use your fetch land
That's
for.
true, yeah.
Like you just kill the Delver, hit them for 3. You kill the Voice of Resurgence, hit them for 3. Like you kill the Burn to Your Emissary, hit them for 3. This is always value all the time.
Yeah, this card is going to also be really good in the mono red decks. Like this, along with the other things we've already talked about, I feel are going to be the upgrades the mono red deck finally needs to be a player. Right. Especially you need these cards because you need to kill those Tidebinder mages, but you lose so much tempo by killing a Tidebinder mage with a removal spell and getting your guy tapped that at least this deals the damage that your guy would have dealt.
Right.
So that's huge. That's a big switch.
Absolutely. So, again, this is, we thought Searing Blaze was good, and then they're like, nope, nope, nope. When the guy bleeds cheese.
That's the real deal, yeah.
Awesome card. Stormcaller of Karanos.
Yeah.
Can we do the Stormcaller Karanos pose?
Does this just like... Yeah, that's not going to get sucked.
Yeah, that's not going to get put into a meme picture. But yeah, the sometimes the weird way they warp the women's bodies to make them seem whatever is ridiculous. 3 mana 2/2 haste, scry 1 as much as you want.
Yeah, this card is like very good.
Seems, yeah.
The ability to just scry using mana
as much as you want.
Yeah, is so unbelievably powerful. Like this card is going to be huge and limited. And the other thing I love about it is a 2/2 haste for 3 isn't even that terrible.
Not that bad.
Not that bad, even if you don't have blue in your deck.
Right.
So you could still play it, but if you're playing Izzet, like I'm not gonna lie, like I am gonna be you're gonna see long games be won by this ability. Scry. Oh, I found my card that I'm looking for. Like you're constantly looking, or just spells. Like for the rest of the game, your opponent will just never draw another land.
Right. Or unless they get incredibly unlucky, and let's say they do get incredibly unlucky, well, guess who's going to get them out of that spot?
This guy, yeah.
Yeah, super, super good. High pick. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Thunderbrute. Raw. He was thunderstruck.
Yeah, now this is a card that I can get behind for Tribute, mostly because I can actually see both sides being okay.
Both
An
sides are
8/8
okay.
trample or a 5/5 haste trample for 6, like I'm very happy. This is the same as the white one that gave you 2 1/1s. Like
Right.
I will not be happy to play against this card in either way.
It's not as good, I feel, as the white one. I really like the white
No,
guy.
yeah.
He's essentially a dragon or like a mini dragon with little tiny dragons. But again, there's no doubt.
1/1 flying spirits are not mini dragons.
Shut up! They are for me. But no, again, I noticed this is one of those where the tribute looks good on both sides. That's appreciated. It's not super powerful either way, but it is good. Again, I think most of the time they're going to let you have an 8/8 and then they're going to kill it.
Yeah.
They're going to let you have an 8/8 and then they're going to tap it.
Or they're just not going to be able to kill either one. Like
Right, and if they can't kill either one, they will give you the 8/8 so they don't take 5 immediately.
I like when people are sitting at home and they're just like, the one thing that I think about our site reviews that I just thought about is like, people at home are just like, why does Evan think everyone has so much removal? Like, there's just like this guy with like an endless bag of removal spells.
In his bag?
It's like, what kind of magic does he play?
Man, dude, I play the magic where the guy always has it.
Yeah.
He always does. It's one of those like, you always need to play like
He
they
always
have
has it, and
or
when
no-
I win, it's skill, and when I lose, it's luck.
Da 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 da. Yeah. All right. So Thunderbrute is a fine magic card that you should play in limited. Thunderous Might. Such thunderous, such might.
It is a cool card. It's kind of like, I feel like with the cards that are unblockable or some way to just get it through that last minute. It is extremely powerful.
It's not Madcap skills.
No, but what is?
Well, even when we were looking at Madcap, it was one of those where I was like, I kind of have a hankering. This might even be constructed playable, but it sounds a little silly to say so.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, man, I wish this was as good as Madcap skills because that is so constructed playable.
Yeah.
And this just basically isn't. It can be really good, obviously, and it can have some high bonuses, but not being able to block those creatures was super important.
I just thought of something. I want to put Madcap skills on a Brimaz.
Oh.
I just want to do that once, and then have a Brave back.
Oh, Oh, so good.
That's what I want to do next.
Bravaz is so good. He's ridiculous. Thunderous Might, again, you may get a higher return than Madcap Skills gives you.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. But the ability to not have that creature be blocked by one creature is huge.
And you have to have a
Massive.
board position before this happens. And the thing about Madcap Skills is you get that early damage in early. So even if they 2-for-1 you, you've got them at such low life that you can just use tempo to use the last couple things that you have before you're exhausted to kill them.
Right. So not only can this 2-for-1 you, like it requires a board presence that can be wiped
Already.
out, and then it's not that good anyway. So by that large,
I feel like it's a win more or just an unplayable.
Yeah, I think it's more unplayable than win
Yeah.
more. Whims of the Fates, so whimsical. Oh yeah.
I love that piles can't be empty because the first time I saw it, it's
Piles
like,
can be
oh,
empty.
no gamble, no future.
That's right. It's so good. You always just one pile. Let's go.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this is a crazy cool multiplayer card of funness, and that's the only place it's going to live. And
I mean,
is anyone going to play this in limited?
no.
There's that one guy.
Well, yeah, they're gonna play it, but like
that one guy.
cards like this make me wish that I could just show up to a commander game just for these turns. All I want to see is these. I don't want to see the development turns where everyone's just like, play my land, search up these, play my guy, kill it, pay 2 more mana for it, kill. No, I just want to see people do this, and like it just seems awesome.
It almost makes me feel like, like I just kind of saunter over to a commander game, then I just go, Whims of the Fates. I'm just making it happen. Just go, just right now. Like that to me is the fun. Is when everything's all set up, and then this type of card comes in and just blows it all up. So that to me was the goal of this card. It achieves it very well. It's super fun. I'm really happy that last line is in there, so people know.
Well, I mean, you can just go 1/1/12 or whatever.
Oh, of course, no gamble, no future.
Yeah.
Fanatic Xenagos, by God, a fantastic tribute card.
Yes, this is the one and only tribute card that I think I'll see Constructed play, mostly because it's probably going to end up a 4/4 for 3, and if it is just a 3/3 haste, it does get 4 damage in right away, and that's a lot of damage to help out with your other haste creatures or your Gore Clan Rampager Bloods, things like that. Again, I think we've already exhausted it all about the Azorius Charm and this card. Like, I feel like these two, like, that's just going to be this guy's worst enemy.
And there's not much you can do about that.
No.
If they got it, they got it. If they don't, then you're going to get great value out of this
Good
guy.
thing Domri Raid is Azorius Charm's worst enemy as well, so we've got just like this whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's nice that we have a good tribute card where no matter what they tell you you can do, you're going to like it. And that's just sort of a change of pace from most of the set, if not every other thing with tribute. Beyond like the white thing, the white guy, which is good in limited, and the red guy we just talked about. I appreciate that this exists in limited. It's not quite an all-star. I think in standard it's great because you can run 4 of and it can hit your curve and yada yada. In limited, you're not going to get quite the impact that you would get in standard, but that's okay.
For sure.
It's still playable. If you're in these cards, I still think it's a fine man. Or you're in these colors rather. Good dude.
It's a very good guy.
Now this dude. Woo!
Finally, a god I can combine. So when I saw the preview, the WotC preview, because the one thing, there's 2 things that Wizards does that I still get giddy about. Like I remember like 8 years ago, it's oh my god, now that I think about it, like I remember like 8 years, sorry, I'm gonna rant for a second.
Here we go.
Like 8 years ago or 6 years ago, like the one thing that I couldn't like control myself was Thursday night at 11:59, I'm just F16 to see the magic show every single time. And now I'm actually on it, and I really haven't put those together that much before. But yeah, your mic. Come on, be more professional, buddy.
Dude, it hates me so hard. You have no idea.
But on the Wizard site, there's 2 things that I still love. I love the previews for the new sets and Walking Planes. I'm just plugging Walking Planes because I love it. But
they're good guys.
Yeah, I mean, Nathan's awesome. But the preview things where they have the art of the cards, but they just move them like this. I know it's not that great, but I love it. It's just like, Xenagos is just like, I'm scary. But like in that, they didn't show Xenagos. They showed the other 4 gods, and it was Xenagos talking, and then he was coming through the stars, talking about how he's just going to destroy everyone. I'm like, I don't even know who that is because I don't follow the story. And I'm like, but I want to know who it is. I want to know the green. And he didn't disappoint. This is the best god in the set, and it's the reason I love it is because it doesn't invest mana into his ability, and it's scary. It's just like play Like Rorikthar, haste, 12U.
Wow.
You know, it's just so unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's the fact that it hits as soon as, like, it impacts the board immediately.
Yeah.
It's not this trigger like, the Polis, the Guard of the Polis, where you needed to play another creature or need to have another creature into the battlefield or whatever. This guy is monstrous by himself. He is, of course, indestructible. He works great with his Planeswalker half. He works great with Domri into himself, into the God version of himself. Like all these things, all these interlocking parts just work. He's right on the correct curve for those types of draws. Oh, man, Xenagos is sweet.
Yeah, like it's also the only god that when I think about playing him, he's not active. Like every other god, I'm just
Right.
like, it's active and it's attacking and it's so cool.
Right,
But
like
this one,
Mogus is going to be awesome because he's a 7/5 and blah, 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 blah. But like, no,
Yeah.
this guy just needs to live on
like,
the battlefield.
Yeah, and then when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I can like attack with him sometimes too. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah, that too. That's amazing. Sometimes it's a 6/5. Like, the best Fires of Yavimaya of all time.
And the one thing I love about this is because this color combination has the most proactive permanents that don't get wrath, like Domri Raid and Xenagos, which I flavor judge. I do not like that I can have the god and the
I
Planeswalker.
don't care.
I do.
Who cares?
Like
Is
when
it fun and is it awesome? Checked yes,
when
checked
I
yes,
ventured
in.
when I ventured a Venser, I was so mad.
Oh, man.
It was awesome, but I was so mad.
Dude, Flavor Foul.
Yes.
This card is amazing. One of the chase rares of the set. Honestly, it's probably not as good as Burmaz for what it's worth in terms of like raw power level. Doesn't matter.
Primaz is
Just like the
kitty
tip
cat.
top. Yeah. But regardless, it doesn't matter. This card is easily one of the best of the set. The card is amazing. It's going to be seen and constructed. It's going to do wonderful things. I love it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, this is just going to be a chase. I mean, it's good for the green-red monster decks that CVM and BBD have resurged.
Yup.
And I definitely think that this is going to kill everyone. I mean, it's like, of course it's not going to win all the time, but like, this is going to be the card that you talk about. It's not Stormwood Dragon anymore. It's not like, oh, you top deck Stormwood Dragon. It's like,
Right.
this killed me. My opponent, like, I Supreme Verdict, but he had the Xenagos, and all he had for follow-up was a Mutavault, and I died. Like, that's all he had.
Oops, you're dead. And the other thing that is going to be sort of strange over the next year or so is someone's going to say, all right, and then he played Xenagos and I died. And they go, which one? That is awesome.
And then they're just like, didn't matter. Either
Does
one
it matter?
killed me.
Does it matter? Doesn't matter. Like, that's awesome. Love Xenagos. Heroes Podium.
I'm gonna tap out because I don't know Commander, and I know
here we
you.
go.
Yeah, I'm giving you this one because
Oh, great.
Congratulations.
Well, okay, well, sure. Basically what I would say is that this is a card that's going to start as a crap rare and then slowly over time is going to increase in value. We've seen it time and time again. Door of Destinies, for example. There was that silly card in Kamigawa that you 4 mana to play it, 4 mana tap, put a divinity counter on something that's indestructible. Something like that. Something like these sort of dinky little cards, these dinky little artifacts that do something really cool just for Commander. Not just for Commander, but like these types of abilities. Each legendary creature you control gets bonuses for the other ones. You go find legendary creatures. Well, which format is based around legendary creatures? You know what I mean? So
well, this is just for Commander. There's no way you can play it anywhere else.
Yeah, so this is Ken Nagel, who is a Commander lover of all things, and he just sort of puts these awesome Commander cards in there, just like the red spell. Where the
so you're
fate
saying
spell.
that this set was made by Ken Nagel,
Yep.
or he helped
He
design
designed
it.
it. He led
and
design
there's all these cards like this in it, all these Commander cards. I just can't wait until we get the Jerry set.
Oh yeah.
That is gonna be some good days. The Adam Prozac Jerry Thompson set.
Oh my
I'm waiting.
God.
2022.
Whatever. Those guys, and guys like Humphreys and Forsyth, they exist to temper those guys because it would all be like tutors and variance reducers and whatever. Anyway, Heroes Podium is a fine card for those who love Commander. You will see a lot of value out of that card. Pillar of War. War. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make this card interesting. It's 3/3 and it's neat. I think there's going to be people who, just play this guy as a nice little wall and they bestow something on it and crush. I mean, it's a fine man. It's ultimately you're working kind of hard to make a trained Armadon get there.
Yes, and
That's the problem.
And that's the big problem. But there isn't a lot of artifact removal, so.
It's true.
We needed to give that one guy
Yeah.
some work to do.
To make him relevant. But this is also a Pillar of Worthy guy where you could play the bestow for 2 mana.
Yeah.
The 2 mana bestow guy, and then you have a 4/4, and if he dies, you get a 1/1. Like those are not the worst trade-offs in the world, but it's just not super exciting.
No, it isn't. The only exciting thing is about watching that building, since now its structural integrity was damaged.
Yeah, really, is it going to fall?
Yeah,
Is it not
we
gonna
have no
fall?
idea.
That's the question.
They're really holding on tight.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for the next edition of the Magic Show.
Oh my God. All right, anyway. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was every single red card in Born of the Gods. That was some multicolor and even some artifacts. It's been a fun ride.
There's only one more.
But there's only one stop left on this train, and those are the green cards. And we will be talking about those next time. So, for Evan Irwin,
Brad Nelson, I forgot my line.
God, he forgot his line. We're tapping the cards.
So you don't have to. Got that one.
So good.